We have made the decision to restructure the client relations department. Ruth, today marks your final day with us. The words lingered in the atmosphere of the polished conference room, creating an uncomfortable tension. I observed Dominic Hayes, the newly appointed managing partner who had joined Franklin and Associates merely 8 months prior. His expression was deliberate, reflecting a calculated combination of corporate remorse and objective professionalism. Has it been 25 years since then? My voice remained composed despite the turmoil within me. Business decisions are not personal, he stated, as he slid a manila folder across the polished table. The Human Resources Department has developed a severance package that includes 2 months' salary and the continuation of benefits until the end of the quarter. Janice from the Human Resources Department sat beside him, nodding in a sympathetic manner while refraining from making eye contact. The required reduction in workforce impacts multiple departments, she stated. You should not interpret this as a criticism of your performance. Indeed, it was. At the age of 58, I held the position of the most senior employee in client relations. My salary was reflective of my experience, which contributed significantly to the transformation of Franklin and Associates from a modest legal consulting firm into an industry leader. Is Arthur aware of this information? I inquired about Arthur Franklin, the founding partner who personally recruited me 25 years ago. Dominic's jaw became tense. All partners actively participated in discussions about the restructuring decisions. There was a conspicuous absence of feedback. Arthur has been in London for the past 3 weeks, engaged in negotiations regarding our expansion into the European market. Wishing you the best in your future endeavors. Dominic concluded with a smile that did not reflect his true feelings. Security personnel will assist you in clearing out your desk. This is a standard operating procedure. I contributed to the development of that protocol 12 years ago. My name is Ruth Pearson, and until recently, I held the position of Senior Director of Client Relations at Franklin and Associates, a leading legal consulting firm based in Boston. I have dedicated my career to cultivating strong relationships with our clients, comprehending their needs, anticipating their concerns, and ensuring they feel valued beyond the billable hours. In an industry where companies are frequently perceived as interchangeable, I ensured that our clients recognized us as indispensable. I found myself being dismissed as if I were an obsolete policy manual, left with only a manila folder and empty reassurances to reflect a quarter-century of commitment. While the security guard stood nearby my desk, I systematically organized my personal belongings. We took photographs with clients during charity galas. We received appreciation notes from the Chambers family following our assistance in navigating a complex corporate restructuring. The crystal paperweight that Arthur presented to me on the occasion of my 20th work anniversary. I received a notification on my phone indicating a message from Catherine Winters, the CEO of Winters Healthcare, our largest client. Ruth has come across concerning rumors regarding potential changes at F&A. The quarterly review is scheduled for next week. Please contact me at your earliest convenience. I noticed Dominic standing in his office, already engrossed in a phone conversation, probably handling damage control. What he was unaware of, and what none of them appeared to comprehend, was that client relationships could not be conveyed through a memo or reassigned within a database. Trust, consistency, and personal connection laid the foundation of these relationships, which I have now disconnected from after 25 years. I became a member of Franklin and Associates in 1998, at which time we occupied half a floor in a modest office building and had a total of 17 clients. At the age of 42, Arthur Franklin was filled with ambition and committed to establishing a consulting firm that prioritized client satisfaction over billable hours. During my interview, he conveyed to me that while numbers serve as the language of business, relationships are its core essence. While many individuals possess the ability to analyze data, not all are capable of fostering trust. Throughout the years, I have embraced that philosophy. While others pursued promotions through high-profile projects and office politics, I concentrated on establishing myself as an indispensable asset to our clients. I recalled the names of their children and their respective college selections. I was aware of which clients preferred comprehensive technical explanations and which favored overarching summaries. I monitored company milestones, leadership transitions, and strategic shifts to proactively address their needs rather than simply react to them. Arthur remarked during my 20th anniversary celebration that I am the architect of relationships. Your efforts have established the essential foundation that underpins all our activities. The firm experienced consistent growth under Arthur's leadership, however. A shift occurred 2 years ago when we engaged outside investors to support our expansion efforts. New partners have joined the leadership team, contributing Harvard MBAs and strategic visions that increasingly emphasize efficiency metrics over client experience. Dominic Hayes, known for his polished presentations and unwavering emphasis on financial performance, has emerged as the most assertive among these new additions. Since his arrival, there has been a 40% increase in employee turnover. The unofficial motto has transitioned from prioritizing Arthur's clients to emphasizing Dominic's focus on maximizing value extraction. I expressed my concerns during executive meetings, highlighting that our client retention rates were starting to decline. I argued that we are compromising long-term stability in favor of short-term gains. The market is undergoing changes, Ruth, and Dominic replied in a dismissive manner. We must adapt to survive. Several of our legacy processes are, quite frankly, no longer current. I have observed my gradual exclusion from strategic discussions over the past 6 months. I no longer receive meeting invitations. Email threads did not include my address. Without my prior consultation, they designated junior team members as secondary contacts for key client accounts. Nonetheless, I had presumed that my institutional knowledge and client relationships would serve as a safeguard for me. I successfully managed relationships with clients that accounted for more than 60% of our annual revenue. Catherine Winters generated nearly $4 million annually and had clearly indicated in her most recent contract renewal that she preferred me as her primary contact. Recently, however, I have perceived a more concerning situation developing. Last week, I happened to overhear Dominic during a phone conversation. The restructuring presents an opportunity to eliminate outdated practices. Their retirement plans are projected to incur significant costs for us in the long term. I should have anticipated this outcome. However, after 25 years, I realized I had erred in believing that loyalty still held significance. The experience of being escorted from the building in a manner akin to a security threat remained a source of discomfort 3 days later. I found myself in my apartment, surrounded by job search websites and pending messages from colleagues. My LinkedIn profile has experienced a significant increase in views. It appears that an unexpected termination has generated a heightened level of interest. The landline phone rang, which is a rare occurrence in today's context. I nearly allowed the call to go to voicemail until I identified the number. Greetings, Ruth. This is Arthur. His accustomed British accent was more restrained than usual. I just arrived from London and received the news. I did not authorize this action. A complex array of emotions enveloped me. I experienced relief that Arthur did not approve of my termination, frustration that it occurred regardless, and a persistent feeling of betrayal due to his failure to safeguard my position despite our shared history. It occurred nonetheless, I responded, maintaining a neutral tone. Dominic stated that they consulted all partners. Arthur expressed his frustration, claiming that they intentionally sidelined him. They postponed their actions until I was abroad addressing the EU regulatory matters. The executive committee approved the proposal on an emergency basis, emphasizing the urgent need to enhance quarterly projections prior to the upcoming investor meeting. I have known Arthur for 25 years. I expected more than a brief 10-minute meeting followed by the need for a security escort. He concurred that you deserved significantly better. I am committed to rectifying this situation. What if I were to reinstate your presence? This situation can be characterized as a misunderstanding or a communication error. It is not as straightforward as that. I interjected. Dominic made it clear that he views me as expendable. The term he employed was legacy fat. The silence on the other end indicated that Arthur comprehended the importance of my message. Undermining leadership significantly diminishes effectiveness in the corporate environment. There was absolutely no chance of recovery from that situation. I apologize, Ruth. Indeed, The foundation of this organization rests on the relationships you fostered. How are you managing those relationships in my absence? I inquired. There will be a further pause. Dominic has delegated your accounts to the junior partners. Melissa Bennett is overseeing Winters Healthcare. I was unable to contain a dry laugh. Catherine Winters had a direct disagreement with Melissa during a strategy session last year. Perceiving her approach as overly aggressive and lacking in personal engagement. I wish you the best in your endeavors. Following the call, I observed my phone as it illuminated with incoming notifications. Clients have been reaching out, including Catherine, Douglas from Archer Pharmaceuticals, Belinda from Summit Financial, and the entire executive team at Westridge Manufacturing. News of my departure was circulating. I had not made contact with any of them. I maintained a professional demeanor and refrained from speaking negatively about my former employer. Despite their treatment of me, however, clients communicate with one another. They participate in the same conferences, serve on the same boards, and belong to the same industry groups. The doorbell rang. A courier delivered a substantial envelope to me. Enclosed was a formal letter from Catherine Goldstein, the preeminent headhunter in Boston's consulting sector, accompanied by a handwritten note. Catherine Goldstein has updated me on the latest developments at F&A. A number of firms would assess the value of your client portfolio. Would you be available for dinner tomorrow? I placed the letter aside, reflecting on Dominic's self-satisfied expression as he dismissed me. I had no intention of undermining Franklin and Associates. I did not find it necessary to do so. They had previously accomplished that on their own. The following morning, my phone rang at 7:38 a.m. Catherine Winters is not one to engage in unnecessary formalities. She inquired assertively, "Please confirm that you are not truly gone." While pouring my coffee, "I regret to inform you that I am indeed gone. We called the process restructuring." Catherine responded sharply, "I have collaborated exclusively with you for 12 years. Yesterday, I received an email from Melissa Bennett, who introduced herself as my new relationship manager. The young woman attempted to elucidate my business model to me last year. I selected my words with excellent care. Franklin and Associates is implementing strategic modifications. It is likely that they perceive their actions as being in the best interest of their clients. Please refrain from providing me with the standard corporate response. Ruth, our acquaintance has extended over a considerable period of time." Catherine took a moment to pause. "What is your next destination?" "I have not made a decision at this time. Please make a decision promptly. The contract with F&A is due for renewal in 60 days. I would prefer to follow you." This was the moment when I should have provided reassurance regarding Franklin and Associates, emphasizing that the quality of their work has remained consistent despite changes in personnel. That is what professionalism required. In response, I expressed my appreciation for your confidence. "Catherine, I will review my options and respond to you shortly." By noon, I had received comparable calls from 5 additional major clients. By the time dinner arrived, that figure had increased to 11. I did not request any of them. I did not find it necessary to do so. Catherine Goldstein met with me at a high-end restaurant in Back Bay, her keen gaze evaluating me over her reading glasses. She remarked that you are currently the focus of discussion within the industry after placing her order. Dominic Hayes committed a significant error. It is possible, I responded without commitment. She expressed amusement. Consistently diplomatic. This aspect contributes to your overall appeal. She presented a folder by sliding it across the table. 3 companies would like to schedule a meeting with you. 2 individuals are establishing a dedicated position aimed at integrating you and your client relationships into the organization. I reviewed the compensation figures and was taken aback. Their offer was nearly double my prior salary. Catherine clarified that they are not solely compensating you for your expertise. As she observed my reaction, they are compensating for your personal contacts. I found the irony to be quite apparent. Franklin and Associates deemed me too costly, but their competitors valued me at twice that amount. I am curious whether Dominic has taken this possibility into account in his cost-cutting calculations. The following morning, Arthur made another call. He expressed a need to meet, his tone reflecting an unusual level of agitation. "Could you please come to the office?" I believe that may not be suitable. Considering the circumstances. Lunch will be served at 1 p.m., following the harvest. Kindly, Ruth. There are developments you should be aware of. I found myself compelled by curiosity. At exactly 1 p.m., I entered the harvest to find Arthur already seated, appearing fatigued. Thank you for your attendance. He spoke, his voice filled with relief. Dominic has been impeding my efforts to resolve this situation at every opportunity. He has successfully persuaded the board that your termination was essential for the modernization of our approach. What is the status of the clients? I inquired. What is their response to this modernization? Arthur experienced a moment of discomfort. Arthur's condition has not improved significantly. Catherine Winters has requested a meeting with the entire executive team. Douglas from Archer is currently evaluating their options. 3 smaller clients have formally provided notice. I quietly sipped my water. Remaining silent, Arthur proceeded to outline his proposal. Leaning forward to emphasize his points. I am establishing a new position. Chief Client Officer, who will report directly to me, thereby bypassing Dominic completely. Improved compensation and increased autonomy. It appeared to be ideal. Precisely what I would have desired a week prior. Exceedingly ideal. I observed Arthur's expression and detected an emotion that transcended mere concern. Apprehension. What information are you withholding from me, Arthur? He paused momentarily, then exhaled deeply. Dominic has devised a strategy to encourage my early retirement. He has been consolidating authority and establishing alliances with the newer partners. Should the client's situation worsen, he may utilize it as leverage to compel my departure. That concludes the matter. Arthur was not attempting to assist me. He was attempting to ensure his own safety. I served merely as a means to achieve that objective. I regret to inform you, Arthur, that I have prior meetings arranged with other firms. Do you comprehend this information? Business decisions should be approached with objectivity. The expression on his face as I reiterated Dominic's words to him nearly rendered the entire experience worthwhile. Nearly. During the following week, I conducted meetings with all 3 firms that Catherine had suggested. Each meeting adhered to a consistent structure. There has been considerable commendation regarding my client relationship skills, accompanied by subtle inquiries regarding potential clients who may choose to follow me, as well as progressively more attractive compensation proposals. I am inclined to consider Blackwell Consulting, a mid-sized firm that embodies values similar to those of the original Franklin and Associates. Despite my significant contributions to the firm's growth, I had not received an equity partnership in their proposal at F&A. Meanwhile, the circumstances at Franklin and Associates were deteriorating more rapidly than I had anticipated. Reports from industry blogs indicated client dissatisfaction and tensions among leadership. My previous assistant, Thomas, provided me with updates via text message. Catherine Winters had met with the executive team and departed with a noticeable expression of anger. Douglas from Archer Pharmaceuticals has cancelled the quarterly review. Westridge Manufacturing, a client recognized for their institutional loyalty, was reportedly exploring proposals from competing firms. Afterwards, Ruth Pearson received a call that significantly changed the course of events. Ruth Pearson. I provided my response while examining Blackwell's offer letter. Good afternoon, Ms. Pearson. This is Jeffrey Hammond representing the Boston Business Journal. I adjusted my posture. The BBJ served as a definitive resource within Boston's corporate landscape. I am currently developing a narrative regarding the recent leadership transitions at Franklin and Associates and their influence on client relationships. Multiple sources have referenced your name. Would you be able to provide your comments? This area presented significant risks. Any statements I make may be interpreted as disparaging toward my former employer, which could potentially subject me to legal repercussions under the non-disparagement clause outlined in my severance agreement. I prefer not to comment on internal matters at Franklin and Associates. So I responded cautiously. Hammond acknowledged this with understanding. The announcement by 7 major clients to end their F&A relationships raises questions. Industry experts are indicating that this exodus is directly associated with your departure. 7 clients? I have only engaged in direct conversations with 15 individuals, and none have explicitly indicated their intention to depart from F&A. I am unable to comment on the business decisions made by clients. I stated, numerous considerations are involved in the selection of consulting partners. Certainly. I could hear Hammond typing on the keyboard. I have an additional question. Do you have any comments regarding the letter endorsed by 26 clients of F&A, which calls for Arthur Franklin to succeed Dominic Hayes as managing partner? I almost dropped the phone. I am not familiar with such a letter. Following the conclusion of the call, I remained in a state of stunned silence. 26 clients? Is there a formal request for Dominic's replacement? I did not arrange any of this. I received a text message from Thomas on my phone. We have scheduled an emergency all-hands meeting for tomorrow morning. Partners are arriving from various locations. Dominic appears to be experiencing significant distress. 1 hour later, Arthur made a phone call. Were you responsible for organizing this client descent? He made his request directly and without introduction. I have not accomplished anything. Arthur, I have not engaged in soliciting any clients. Could you please clarify your explanation regarding this matter? He appeared to be in a state of desperation. 70% of our client base has expressed intentions to discontinue their association with us. The board is currently experiencing a state of heightened concern. Investors are seeking information that I currently do not possess. I propose that they may prioritize the continuity of relationships over the efficiency of cost-cutting measures. This is a serious matter. Ruth, after 25 years of establishing this firm, it is at risk of collapsing within a mere 25 days. There was a sense of grim satisfaction in perceiving the panic in Arthur's voice. This is the same Arthur who, despite his 25 years of loyalty, failed to protect me. What is it that you require from me, Arthur? He implored her to return. Not in the capacity of chief client officer. I am acting in the role of a full equity partner. Please assist me in stabilizing the situation. Collaborator. Over the past 10 years, you have consistently denied me the position I have rightfully earned. Furthermore, what is your perspective on Dominic? Arthur's tone became more resolute. The board will convene this evening. The determination of his future will occur prior to the all-hands meeting scheduled for tomorrow. I considered the Blackwell offer presented to me. A partnership would be advantageous, profitable, and significantly less complex than reverting to F&A. However, I have cultivated those client relationships over a span of 25 years. In numerous respects, they represented the culmination of my professional endeavors. After careful consideration, I concluded that I need to reflect on this matter further. I will provide my response in the morning. I was unable to attain sleep that night. I walked through my apartment, carefully considering my options as the digital clock approached morning. Rejoining Franklin and Associates would entail confronting the colleagues who observed my departure in silence. It would involve managing the political consequences following Dominic's apparent decline. A setback that I did not orchestrate, yet for which I would undoubtedly be held accountable. The organization's culture had been declining over the years. A single leadership change would not resolve the issue immediately. Conversely, Blackwell provided an opportunity for a new beginning. There were new colleagues, new cultural dynamics, and new opportunities for growth. The compensation and partnership offered were substantial. I have the potential to attract motivated clients and contribute to the development of a dynamic initiative. By 6 a.m., I had reached my decision. I contacted Catherine Goldstein, confident that she would be available to speak. I have decided to proceed with Blackwell. I informed her. That is a wise decision. She responded. I will inform them accordingly. They will be pleased. I communicated that there was an additional requirement I had from them. Further elaborating on my situation, Catherine attentively listened before responding with laughter. I appreciate the tenacity of Ruth. I will present it to them this morning. At 8:45 a.m., I entered Franklin and Associates for the first time following my termination. The receptionist's eyes grew wide. Ms. Pearson, are you present for the all-hands meeting? Arthur is expecting me. The conference room was fully occupied upon my arrival. Partners who typically participated remotely had traveled from various locations nationwide. Junior staff positioned themselves along the walls, while Arthur stood at the forefront, flanked by members of the board. Dominic was notably absent. Upon my entrance, a silence enveloped the room. Arthur's sense of relief was evident from across the room. Thank you all for your attendance. He commenced. We are currently addressing significant client concerns in light of recent staffing decisions. He glanced in my direction. We are pleased to announce that Ruth Pearson has accepted the position of full equity partner at Franklin & Associates, where she will lead our newly established client relations division. Whispers circulated among the audience. Arthur signaled for silence. The board has reached a unanimous decision to terminate Dominic Hayes from his position as managing partner, effective immediately. His approach was ultimately considered incompatible with our firm's values and commitment to clients. The ambiance in the room was charged with energy. The atmosphere is palpable with a blend of shock, relief, and uncertainty. Ruth, would you be willing to share some remarks? Arthur signaled for me to approach. Upon taking my position at the front of the room, I noticed Thomas offering a discreet thumbs up from the rear wall. I observed the individuals in front of me, some displaying hope, others exhibiting caution, yet all were engaged and attentive. Thank you, Arthur, for your assistance. I would like to express my gratitude for the opportunity to return as a partner. However, I would like to clarify an important matter. I will not be returning to Franklin & Associates. Arthur's expression became one of confusion. A number of board members exchanged concerned glances. In a calm manner, I am pleased to announce that I have accepted a partnership position at Blackwell Consulting, which has recently finalized acquisition negotiations with Horizon Capital to acquire a controlling interest in Franklin & Associates. The room was filled with expressions of astonishment. Arthur seemed to have experienced a profound impact. I continued once the noise subsided. Blackwell has confirmed that they recognize the importance of the institutional knowledge and client relationships established in this organization. There are no plans for mass layoffs or restructuring at this time, unless operational efficiency demands it. Arthur advanced. Ruth, could you please clarify your actions? I have not taken any action. Arthur, Blackwell has been pursuing the expansion of its presence in Boston for several years. Horizon Capital, as the majority shareholder in F&A, was pleased to evaluate their proposal, particularly in light of recent client instability. This is merely a business matter. Ultimately, this is not a personal matter. As the implications became clear, I observed the gradual realization in Arthur's eyes. He did not provide the necessary protection when it was crucial. He compromised loyalty for immediate benefits. Confronting his own obsolescence, he recognized the genuine implications of those decisions. The meeting concluded in disarray as I exited. Maintaining my composure, I received a text message from Catherine Winters on my phone. I have just received the news. Shall we arrange a dinner this evening to discuss the future of Winters Healthcare with Blackwell Franklin? I entered the elevator with a smile. I did not pursue revenge. However, justice ultimately reached me. The Boston Business Journal reported the story the following morning. Consulting transformation. Blackwell has acquired Franklin & Associates following a significant departure of clients. The article outlined how the exit of a pivotal senior executive had instigated an unprecedented client backlash, sufficiently destabilizing the firm to facilitate the acquisition. The article only mentioned my name once. In the 15th paragraph, Ruth Pearson, previously serving as Senior Director of Client Relations, has accepted a partnership at Blackwell, where she will be responsible for overseeing the integration of client portfolios from Franklin & Associates. The description provided was clinical in nature, yet it represented a significant shift in power dynamics. In a span of 3 weeks, I transitioned from being a terminated employee to assuming a position of influence over the very firm that had previously dismissed me. The planning for integration commenced without delay. I conducted my work from the offices of Blackwell, where I reviewed organizational charts and client portfolios for both firms. Daily, I received visits from former colleagues at Franklin, with some seeking reassurance regarding their positions, while others expressed a newfound appreciation for my work or voiced their disagreements with Dominic's decisions. Arthur scheduled a meeting 1 week following the announcement of the acquisition. He had aged 10 years and 20 days. You orchestrated this, he stated as he sat across from me. Not as a question but as an accusation. Negative, Arthur. I acknowledged my own worth. Even in the absence of your recognition, I interjected that Dominic was a symptom rather than the underlying cause. The firm's culture has undergone a transformation under your leadership. You placed a higher emphasis on growth than on relationships. You have overlooked the foundational principles that established the company. And now you have complete control over everything. He remarked with bitterness. It is not about control, Arthur. Impact. There exists a distinction that you were once able to comprehend. I presented a document across the desk. Blackwell is extending an offer for a 3-year consulting position, which will be advisory in nature and will not include any management responsibilities. It is commendable, given the circumstances. He gazed at the document before shifting his attention to me. What if I decline? Consequently, you will leave with only your ownership payout. Your decision. 6 months following the acquisition, Blackwell Franklin Consulting occupied 2 floors of a prominent downtown tower. The integration proceeded more smoothly than anticipated, largely due to my decision to retain the majority of Franklin's staff. Recognizing their value even when it was overlooked by others, Dominic had secured a position at a smaller firm. His reputation diminished due to the significant collapse he had instigated. Arthur accepted the consulting role, however. Our interactions continued to be strictly professional. The injury caused by betrayal, coupled with his inability to safeguard me after 25 years, will never completely mend. In my corner office, I examined the quarterly figures with a sense of satisfaction that I had previously refrained from expressing publicly. The client retention rate during the transition surpassed 95%. The 3 clients who departed during the initial exodus have since returned. Our consolidated revenues increased by 23% compared to the previous year. My assistant knocked before entering the room. Ms. Winters has arrived for your lunch appointment. Catherine Stroden is consistently poised in a meticulously tailored suit. We extend our congratulations on the quarterly results achieved. The industry continues to discuss the most sophisticated corporate acquisition observed in recent decades. I smiled. The situation did not constitute a takeover. The situation can be characterized as a market correction. Catherine chuckled, referring to it in whatever manner she preferred. You have demonstrated what I have always believed to be true. In the realm of professional services, relationships constitute the primary asset. All other components are merely infrastructure. As we proceeded to lunch, I contemplated the experiences of the past 6 months. I did not pursue revenge following my termination by Franklin and Associates. I did not find it necessary to do so. The organization did not acknowledge that their genuine value resided not in their systems, strategies, or even their brand. The establishment of human connections is what enables clients to feel understood, valued, and prioritized. By terminating my position without fully comprehending the significance of my contributions, they have effectively orchestrated their own decline. In doing so, they inadvertently positioned me in a role that I had earned through 25 years of dedication. At times, the pursuit of justice may not necessitate active intervention. At times, it necessitates patience and a composed assurance in recognizing one's own value.